You show solidarity.
We are not accepting any individual voices right now. We're speaking with a collective voice, and so any questions that you might have will be taken at the end. Thank you.
Well, the question said, how can the current board, short of resigning, demonstrate to the community? I mean, so I wasn't the one who invented the word here. It's not a question that I want to address, because there's no point, to be honest with you.
Again, the source of these questions is the Google Doc from the weekend, and it is my job to transmit those questions, whether I agree with them or not, or whatever effect it might have on Mr. Epstein. So we're just going through them, and if you have questions, if you don't feel that I didn't make the correct follow-up, then you are free to make the follow-up after the 4 categories that we speak. This actually follows rather pointedly. How can alumni give to the school, give it in terms of donate money to the school in good faith if they question the wisdom of decisions such as the construction of the new academic building?
Well, one of the things that will come out if we get to the finances is that the new academic building did not hurt the school. People are calling it an albatross or a weight around on that. It's anything but. It actually helped our financial picture if you know all the facts. And that's hopefully one of the things that we can learn here tonight. That the new buildings did not wonders, but it helped us. It enabled us to consolidate 2 antiquated buildings into one facility with the cost savings of running these properties. It enabled us to free up the engineering building site for a sale that we got $97 million on. Be aware that a year prior to that sale, the experts that were called in to appraise the property thought we might be able to get 60 or 65 million for it. And in that ensuing year, the market got so hot that we actually sold it for 97 million. So it was actually a very good real estate play. And when we add that to the monies that were burdened on the capital campaign, the building basically paid for itself. When we also add in on the engineering building site, we're going to be getting $2 million a year in tax equivalency payments, which at a 5% return is equivalent to getting $40 million to the balance. So that building helped us, it did not hurt us.
How does the board justify raising the student fees each year?
The costs go up. That's right. Every college, or most colleges that charge tuition, also charge student fees to things that are not covered by tuition.
And this is a follow-up question to that. How does the board justify telling the government that it provides a full tuition scholarship?
Because it does.
So these student fees are not considered?
No, it's the cost, it's not the scholarship. Like I said, other schools that charge tuition also charge fees, and they're listed as 2 separate categories.
Okay, the next question we did cover a tiny bit, but I'll read it in its entirety. There is much incredulity surrounding the sequence of events, not only in that the looming disaster was just recently discovered, but also that the board does not have short and long-term plans in place that would give clues that the crisis is coming. What is the actual timeline regarding the presidential search, the hiring of President Barucha, the knowledge of the seriousness of the deficit, and broaching the idea of imposing tuition?
When the board makes a decision on something, it's really very thoroughly investigated and projections are made. Prior to the creation, with the onset of the capital campaign and the new building, we had projections that showed that had the capital campaign been completely successful and had the market not crashed, nobody could have predicted that, and had the economy not been so slow to recover, that we were sustainable for a couple of decades at least with things the way they were. The fact that the capital campaign was not successful and the economy did crash, hurting us drastically, put us in a different light. You know, with 2020 hindsight, it's easy to see what took place. But when you're trying to project into the future, it's very different. You know, initially the board made projections 30 years out. Years ago, they used to make projections 30 years out, and it sort of became like ludicrous because you really can't predict that far out in any situation. So, but we did have a long timeline of sustainability if those unfortunate events didn't take place. But it wasn't a haphazard decision, you know, and it wasn't like, again, we're not in a crisis today. We knew this was happening, but we were trying to avoid coming to a decision. And the board is doing what the board is supposed to do. We're looking at a looming disaster and trying to rectify it before we reach that point. That's the job of the board.
One thing that I want to interject is that over the summer, President Bush came to many of us who were able to meet with him and said that we had an $8 million deficit. And then once the semester began, he discovered it was a $16 million deficit. Could you kind of review how that discovery was made?
Yeah, part of that I believe was when we added in the financing, the debt we have to pay on the loan that was taken out. So the first number was just pure deficit, and the second number included debt service. Now also it depends when you look at the numbers, because every month things change, so they're adjusted. But the big difference is because of the inclusion of debt financing.
You mean it changed because of interest rates?
It changes because of interest rates, the returns that we get.
Now this is the last question.
Oh, wait, one other thing, okay, there's a, yeah, so the debt is a fixed rate, but the other part of the question, we did not hire jam checks, there was any plan in place to charge tuition or change things in any structural way. When we did the search, because this question is coming up later since we're on the topic, when we narrowed down the search to work with the two finalists, they were all given full disclosure about the school's finances. We didn't want to have somebody hired as president not knowing where we were, and then saying, well, you didn't tell me this, and finding the first ticket to Nepal and disappearing.